you can ask me anything, and I probably have some experience in something like that, and may be able to provide some perspective or some help if you guys are stuck with anything. I want to be able to help you.
Okay, Pat.
Well, here's what I like to do, you guys. Chris, you turned off your camera. That's cool. You're welcome to. So there's a small group, and he's back now. He's coming back. Um, Here's what I like to do. I like to kind of tailor our conversation based on what you guys want to talk about. I'm a 22-year commercial real estate veteran. The first actual 13 years of my career I spent with Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts and with Fairmont Hotels and Resorts. So I was in operations and then in sales. I left, I went into commercial real estate. And then in 2023, I decided that I was going to start buying hard assets. I didn't know why I didn't own some of those buildings. And I stepped out of what I was doing, which was tenant representation. And I started buying hard assets. And so I've syndicated, I have a fund, I run a land business, I own sub twos, I've seller financed, I raise money, I borrow money, I lend money. I run a 5-location direct primary care practice. My husband and I started it 9 years ago, and we just sold it to private equity. So that was a pretty exciting exit.
Yeah.
But when you exit, you don't really get to exit.
So
Susan, you have anything burning? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I can't say burning. I actually just joined this because I wanted to kind of eavesdrop like Alex and just kind of learn from you. And, I love your energy, and I've, followed you on Facebook and Insta, so I've kind of got a gist of what you are. I was with Spencer recently at a day with Pace, and so he raved about you. So I was like, oh, I got to check her out. I
Oh,
tried to connect with you a couple months back and it didn't work out. You were traveling or something. So then when I hopped on with Gabriella the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this more with you. So
awesome.
I'm here today. I don't have anything specific. We did put an offer in on that property that we talked about the last time with Gabriella.
Yep.
Um, it didn't quite work out the way we hoped because the seller would not allow us to have access to the property at all until he passes. And it is in a bankruptcy foreclosure situation, which neither one of us has navigated before. So we just thought we're going to throw it out there and see what we get. He is hoping to work with us out of all the other offers he's got on the table. Um, so the court date's scheduled for next week. We're waiting to hear back, and then we're going to be in panic mode on how to raise our capital to pay for it. So
Right.
hopefully we'll find somebody who's willing to invest in that with us.
Right. So it's an all cash buy though, right?
It is. It's going to be all
Or
cash.
or the sub two, but it was like 11% interest rate or 10% interest rate.
Yes, which didn't work out as a sub two. And we thought about like you said, subdividing it and then selling it off the back parcel, and then but he said no. And he had a legit reason. I mean, he's dying. So he was like, I just don't want construction people back there reminding me every day that they're about to take my land. It's like hurry up and die
Yeah.
over and so we can get busy.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I was
that's a tough
respectful
one.
of that, but it just complicates the situation.
If I remind me, you are an ER nurse, is that right, Susan?
Yeah, so I am a single mom of three. I am a night shift ER nurse. I do it part-time because I'm trying to do this real estate thing full-time. I got divorced a couple years ago, and I was a stay-at-home mom prior. So I'm now just trying to build my generational wealth and portfolio. I used to do real estate like 15 years ago. I managed a 750 unit property with retail space below in Denver. So I worked for a property management company. I flipped a couple houses then, so I really enjoyed it, but I haven't really done much of it since I got married and then divorced. And so now I'm kind of falling back into that. Came across Astro and Sub 2, and I started wholesaling in January of this year. So I'm pretty new, but I've done about 25, 30 deals. I've done a couple of commercial land deals, mostly single family. Um, mostly in the Middle Tennessee, Nashville area.
Yep.
And the reason being my family lives there and I go there quite a bit and it was just booming. It was hot. I live in Michigan and Michigan is not as hot as Nashville was. And I have a huge network of uh, realtors and people that I work with there. So it just made it easy for me to wholesale. And now I'm starting to move into the Detroit area just because it's closer to home and I just kind of want to, I love Detroit and I want to get into the rehab of it just to see it revitalize. So I hooked up with Gabriella and her and I have a couple of deals in the works. I'm dealing with squatters and a whole new ball game. So it's kind of fun. I just purchased my first sub two. I'm not sub two, I'm sorry, short-term rental.
Rats.
So that's a whole nother game too that I'm jumping into.
Yep.
And
You're an action taker. I love this.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm taking action. I feel like
You
I'm
are.
sitting on so many opportunities and I've lost and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying and it's
Yeah.
fun and it's
You, I
scary.
can, I just want to tell you this. I want to say kudos to you because you are doing it all right. What I think I have seen happen to a lot of people that come in and get kind of shiny object syndrome, they come into a mentorship or they come into sort of a new, group. It's very hard for them to focus on what they want to do. And so then they just don't do anything. Or they're afraid of making a mistake, or right, or and it,
Yeah.
you're just out there doing it. And
Well,
that
and I feel
is,
like I've got a lot of balls in the air and
yeah,
I'm going in a lot of different directions because I was like, well, do I just want to wholesale? And what do I just want to wholesale? Do I want to do land? Do I want to do single family, multifamily? And then it just kind of all comes at you. And it's like, you don't want to pass on a deal. So you just figure it out. Um, yeah, so that I feel like I don't know what direction I really want to go. And then I think, do I really have to have one direction? Um, being that I jumped into Astro and Sub 2, I feel like I'm in a lot of debt that I need to repay on that. So I'm just trying now I need to generate a bunch of income to be able to, get to where I want to be. Um, so I was like, I need to get assets that are cash flowing
yep,
so that it's more, consistent than relying on wholesaling. Um, so I got the short-term rental. I think it was you that mentioned getting your 401k and utilizing those funds.
yeah.
I'm
I, I,
not really sure. I think it was you that was listening to.
I think it might have been somebody else because my 401k is a solo 401k for my brokerage firm, which allows
Okay.
me to invest in alternative assets. So I can, it's like checkbook 401k. So
Okay.
I can initiate loans, first position, second position, promissory notes and mortgages. But you can do it through an IRA or you can do it through a 401k. Your 401k has to be set up in a specific way though. So if you're employed, like the hospital won't have it set up that way.
Right.
So you'd have to either
I
do a
did a
self,
rollover. I did a Rob's
okay.
account with it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
I just learned about that through my short-term mentor.
Yep.
So I researched it. Again, it was scary because I was like a C Corp and I'm not that big and that's crazy town. But I like that option just because I can pay myself
Yes.
um, out of it as an employee. So I just set that up and that's what I bought my short-term rental with.
Good
Um,
job.
but again, I'm jumping in feet first. And so
Yeah.
I really want to see if I can get into the lender and
Yep.
capital raising because I want to gain assets and I feel like I need to learn how to capital raise in order to get that going.
You do. I will tell you that is the single most important skill. And Aaron and Chris may not be particularly relevant for you if you've got a cash flowing other business, right? Because Christopher runs a marketing business. But one of the things that I took very much to heart when I first came in was you've got to be able to capital raise. And at first I was like, well, okay. I mean, we buy these assets with other people's money. And I was like, all right, what if I can't do it? Or like, it seems kind of weird to be talking to my circle of friends about, their
Right.
money. And, can I borrow money from you? It just
Yeah.
how do I word that? What do I do? And, I sort of had to put that aside, watch all of the content, understand kind of what the value prop is and the way that I think about it now. And funny enough, one of my sort of biggest lenders right now is a college friend of mine who saw a Facebook post that I put up 2 days before closing. And I said, does anybody have any money? I need 56,000 cash to close for a short-term rental and I'm paying 10%. And like my high school friend, excuse me, my college friend sent me a text message and said, this sounds really interesting. And I was thinking, really? And he has since been an investor in my hotel for 150. He's done, I don't know, $400,000 in loans, long term. He'll do 2, 3 years, no issue, right? 10, 12%, 10 to 12%, just depending. And then what I realized through that conversation and conversion, I was like, wait a second, there's two different lender avatars. There are lenders like me. I'm an operator and a lender. I loan and I run deals, right? So when I lend, it's got to be like 30% of my money. Like I did an EMD deal. I think I talked about this one, Susan, the other day. I lent 500,000 and I got 650,000 back
Yeah,
in 45 days. So I made 150,000, right? Like,
that's amazing.
but the reason, right, that I look, so I'm a lender, but a lender's avatar is usually different than an operator, right? But I'm an operator also. So if I'm going to lend, I'm going to look for only the juiciest deals. I don't lend at 10%, right? Because I don't have to.
Right.
So, but I can also take more risk than somebody else can because I can look at the deal and I'm an operator. I understand. And if somebody, defaults and I end up with their home or their property or whatever the case may be. I mean, there are ways you can get completely wiped out. And that has actually happened to me. I did get wiped out 75,000, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not that it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm up more money than I'm down. So the point is though, if you end up, somebody defaults, can you take the property? Can you finish the property? Can you dispose of the property? If the answer is yes, because you're both an operator and a lender, then it shouldn't be as scary. So I love